July 9th, 2023, surfers off the coast of Santa Cruz, California spend the morning catching waves and enjoying the summer sun, until they cross paths with, of all things, a sea otter. The curious critter cruises up to one surfer in particular, seemingly interested in his flashy surfboard and wanting a closer look. Unable to resist the furry face, the board's owner reaches out a hand to offer the otter some head scritches. But then, the otter strikes. The surfers watch in horror as the creature leaps onto the board and begins tearing it to shreds with its ferocious bite. Moments later, the board is torn asunder and the surfers scatter. Little do they realize, they've fallen victim to a notorious criminal. It all began years earlier when authorities in Monterey Bay began receiving reports of a female southern sea otter approaching kayaks near the shoreline and interacting with humans. What seems like a cute moment is actually a big problem. Southern sea otters are listed as federally threatened creatures under the Endangered Species Act and protected by the Marine Mammal Act. Human interaction is strongly discouraged, as such may hinder the animal's natural development. Otters play a fundamental role in the ecological health of the ocean, and it's tough going. While whales and seals use blubber to stay warm, sea otters must rely on their dense fur coats and heightened metabolisms, meaning they eat 20 to 30% of their total body mass in food every day. This intense hunger makes sea otters fierce predators, yet they are, generally speaking, wary of human contact. So when news arrives of a suspiciously overly friendly otter, the powers that be move to investigate. They quickly discover that the general public has been feeding the sea weasel, causing her to become overly dependent on humans and unable to hunt for herself. So the cops quickly usher her to the Monterey Bay Aquarium for protection and treatment. Christened Otter No. 723, the animal is eventually moved to the University of California, Santa Cruz, and rehabilitated over many years. During this time, 723 gives birth to a beautiful daughter, affectionately named Otter 841. Over the next 2 years, 841 grows up in captivity at Monterey Bay Aquarium under strict protocols, cared for by her mother with minimal interference by aquarium staff who disguise their human appearances by donning black rubber suits and welding masks whenever around the easily spooked wildlife. By June of 2020, officials deem Otter 841 a fit candidate for release and let her loose in Moss Landing, a popular surfing and nature-watching area on the coast of Monterey County. All seemed well until 3 years later. After reports of otter attacks begin flooding the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, reports confirm that the culprit behind the encounters is none other than Otter 841. But why? What could be the cause of 841's sudden, violent aggression? Experts speculate on a variety of scenarios. Maybe the otter is experiencing hormonal changes, or, like her mother before her, became unexpectedly dependent on human interaction for food. Maybe she just hates surfers? Whatever the case, officials determined that Otter 841 now presents too great a public safety risk to ignore, and immediately issue an arrest warrant. By the next day, a special ops team is deployed to capture the fugitive. The plan? Get 841 to the Monterey Bay Aquarium for re-examination, and then rehome her to another aquarium or zoo. But California Fish and Wildlife doesn't count on 841 fighting back. Despite being tagged with a geolocator and facing coordinated efforts from multiple agencies, Otter 841 successfully eludes the authorities, and after several days of poor underwater visibility due to weather, the police pursuit is paused. As encounters with the general public increase, the CDFW is forced to issue a joint statement with the Monterey Bay Aquarium officials and representatives of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, warning all humans in the area to avoid interacting with the animal at all costs. Warning signs are posted throughout Santa Cruz beaches. These warnings, naturally, go totally unheeded, and soon the people weigh in. Public support for 841 grows, with many calling for the now infamous surfboard-stealing sea otter to remain free. Then, weeks of silence. In hushed tones, many whispered that 841 may have been captured by her pursuers, yet officials remain hush-hush on their operation. The seas remain calm, until October 24th, when photographer Mark Woodward catches sight of our fair lady, and all at once, the reason behind her unusual behavior becomes crystal clear. Sea Otter 841 was pregnant, and in recent days had given birth to a healthy baby girl. 2 days later, federal authorities confirmed the sighting and announced the hunt for 841 has been called off. The otter and her pup are now free to live as they please. But to ensure they have the best chance at survival, the public is implored, leave the otters alone. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Maybe you're an otter mama wanting to share your little family's adventures with the adoring public? You can build a website, and Squarespace makes it easy. Start by choosing from one of their stunning templates, and then use their new Fluid engine to customize it however you want. Use member areas to host exclusive video content. And if you've got something to sell, their online storefront makes it easy. Head to squarespace.com to start a free trial today. Give it a shot if you like the experience, and I think you will. Then when you're ready to launch your site in full, head over to squarespace.com/AustinMcConnell to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.